We planted a tree together on the hill behind the house, a sapling of a future for me, for you, for spouse. And child, we said our names would live on in its rings, its growing shade, a legacy of tenderness that would not quickly fade. With our bones we watered it, with promises we staked it against the wind, a living, breathing monument to the love we were in and believed was permanent. Now it's just a fading legacy. The tree is still there green, but the story that it stands for can barely be seen or believed without our hands to tend it, without our shared defining myth. It's just a tree, a beautiful but ordinary gift of nature to itself. For this faded in legacy, it's the proof that love alone cannot stamp its name on time, on wood, on flesh, on bone, unless it stays to tend the mark. I visit it sometimes, it's taller now, it doesn't know my name. The wind just moves its branches, playing an indifferent game. With its leaves, the legacy we dreams, like a plaque that weathers clean. The letters of our union, now impossible to glean from the stone. What's left is just a growing thing, devoid of our intent, a fading legacy of what two people meant and then didn't. Now it's just a fading legacy. The tree is still there green, but the story that it stands for can barely be seen or believed without our hands to tend it, without our shared defining myth. It's just a tree, a beautiful but ordinary gift of nature to itself. For this fading legacy, it's the proof that love alone cannot stamp its name on time, on wood, on flesh, on bone, unless it stays to tend the mark. Maybe all legacies are temporary stories told in sand, even pyramids or road. Maybe the bravest, truest stand is to build something knowing it will fade, to love knowing it might end, to plant a tree for a shade you may never get to spend an afternoon in this fading legacy. Is it some kind of beauty star, a lesson in impermanence, a faint and fading arc across a private sky? Just a tree on a hill, fading legacy. It was enough for a while. Sweeping summer rake string, grand yet sorrowful, a word as quiet as a sense of timelessness and scale. The vocal is effective, it resigned, the music builds to a point climax, then gently recedes, like history being forgotten. The Ferris wheel is motionless against a twilight sky. The painted horse is silent with a static, glassy eye. To nothing, we won the giant bear here on a summer night. Your arm around my shoulders in the garish spinning light of the midway. We ate fried dough and laughed at our own fears. music was a joyous, tiny assault on ears that only heard our heartbeat. Now it's a forgotten festival, a ghost town of delight. The tents are sagging memories in the pale fuchsia light of the moon. The melody of the calliope is rusted in its throat, a single wheezy note for every memory I dote upon and lose. Oh, this forgotten festival, it's closed for the season, and the reason was the slow and quiet, cruel unreason of our parting. I walk the empty midway past the shuttered gaming stalls and hear the phantom laughter echoing off the peeling walls. Like whispers, the prize I took home wasn't just the stupid plush toy. It was the certainty that I was someone else's joy. Amidst the chaos, now the chaos is just stillness, and the joy is packed and fled, leaving this forgotten festival playing in my head on a broken loop. Now it's a forgotten festival, a ghost town of delight. The tents are sagging memories in the pale fuchsia light of the moon. The melody of the calliope is rusted in its throat, a single wheezy note for every memory I dote upon and lose. Oh, this forgotten festival is closed for the season, and the reason was the slow and quiet, cruel unreason of our parting. Maybe they'll tear it down, build condos, something sensible and plain, erase the geography of candy, floss and rain on a happy night. Part of me hopes they do, to kill the scenery of them, but a bigger part hopes it stays, this forgotten park. So when I'm old I can point and say, see that still wheel, that's where, and let the sentence hang, a perfect, breathless, loving snare in the silent air. Lights out, forgotten festival, the carousel will never spin again. Plays a haunting, cheerful waltz music, sad brass instruments join in. The overall sound is nostalgic, eerie, and abandoned. The song ends with the calliope winding down discordantly. There was no funeral for it, no gathering of friends, no sharing of old stories, no making of amends with the past. It just stopped, a phone call that was the last, a text left undelivered, fading into the vast archive of silence. Said goodbye so quiet it didn't make a sound, didn't disrupt the air, didn't mark the ground on where it fell. Missing reminders everywhere of a life that is now gone. A song, a street, a flavor, a particular dawn. But to the world, nothing changed. The calendar turned the same. My grief is a ghost in the machinery with no official name or place. This unborn goodbye festers in the quiet space between what was and what is, with no ceremonial grace to release it. It's an unborn goodbye, lost without a ride, a death with no witnesses in the cold, pragmatic light of day. I wear no black, I speak no eulogies aloud, but inside a silent service goes on, a grieving private crowd of one. Oh, this unborn goodbye is the loneliest kind of end, to have no one to turn to have no one to lend their sorrow to yours. So I hold my own way, light a candle in my room, play the song that was ours in the gathering gloom. I'll say the words I needed to hear. It mattered, it was real. I'm sorry it's over. This is how I feel. This unborn goodbye deserves its moment, even if it's mine alone. To acknowledge the passing, a place of virtual stone on a grave no one else can see. Rest in peace, us unborn goodbye. I see you.
A droning, repetitive kind of guitar pattern, the vocal is almost whispered, intimate and full of a quiet, profound pain of a strand sounds of a room at night. The song ends with the sound of a match striking, a candle being lit, and then the gentle, continued drone of the guitar fading.
I memorize the slope of your smile and the quiet of always. For a while I drew the maps of all your silent shores on the inside of my closet door. My heart a letter with no address, holding a love I never could confess. Every hello was a hidden I adore you. Every step near, a dream I walk towards you. This is an unclaimed love, waiting at the station. Silent, sacred, patient declaration. I built a home for you inside my soul, a perfect story that was never told. This unloved is the purest kind I know. I learned the rhythm of your working day, just to feel the world away, so close in some way. Your favorite coffee, the song just a silent daily skirmish to try and hold the lack of you at bay. It's her quiet war, fought in the grocery line when a song comes on that used to be yours, and she must draw a line in her mind. It's fought at 3 a.m. against the creeping thought that she was never lovable, the piece that must be bought with sheer willpower. This is her quiet war. The enemy is memory, the weapon is distraction, the desired victory. A single day without the sharp invasive sudden pain of remembering your face, of feeling the old rain of your absence fall inside. Oh, her quiet war, it's never done. For every ground reclaimed, another battle is begun. In a dream, a smell, a phrase. The generals are her own thoughts, some kind, some cruel and sharp. She marshals her defenses in the lonely, fading dark. Before dawn, you're better off, he wasn't right. These are her troops, but the enemy has guerrilla tactics and unexpected loops of a scent, a texture, a specific shade of blue that was the color of your eyes. And the battle starts anew, silently. This is her quiet war. The enemy is memory, the weapon is distraction, the desired victory. A single day without the sharp invasive sudden pain of remembering your face, of feeling the old rain of your absence fall inside. Oh, her quiet war, it's never done. For every ground reclaimed, another battle is begun. In a dream, a smell, a phrase. Maybe one day a truce, not a surrender, but a peace where memory becomes a country she can visit, then release without a fight, where the thought of you is just a landscape far away, not a landmine in a living room, sabotaging her day. But for now, the quiet war continues, and she is growing strong in the fighting. Her scars are invisible, but they belong to a veteran of the heart. Another day, another skirmish won. Her quiet war. I used to pray on Sunday in the pews with filtered light. I used to believe in goodness, in the ultimate alright of the world I believed in meant to be, in destiny shorthand. I believed the love we had was part of a divine plan. I could trust, I folded my hands and thanked to God I felt was near, for the gift of you, for conquering the fear of being alone. accentuate in the gloom of my doubt. Oh, this wilted faith that didn't survive the frost of your leaving. The cost of love was the belief I valued most in the order of things. I still go through the motions, light a candle by my head, but the words are just old habits, things the better me once said. With conviction now I sit and watch the true believers shine, with a light I can't remember, a peace that isn't mine. To reclaim my faith isn't dead, it's just dehydrated, weak. It can't answer the why, it can't even speak to the silence you left. Now it's just wilted faith that dried up, fragile stem that cannot hold the weight of my requiem for us. The prayers feel like whispers into a hollow stone cold room. The hymns are just nice melodies accentuate in the gloom of my doubt. Oh, this wilted faith that didn't survive the frost of your leaving. The cost of love was the belief I valued most in the order of things. Maybe faith isn't a flower, but a tree, and this is just a season of barren branches for a complex, unknowable reason. Maybe the wilted leaves must fall so new ones can believe in a different kind of spring, a different kind of reprieve. I'll wait, I'll sit in the barrenness, I won't pretend it's green. This wilted faith is my truth, my honest in between. State of graceless being. I believe in nothing for now. I kept it in a jar by the bed, a sour pickle thing, a resentment for the words you said, for the pain you bring, and then ignored, feed it daily with a memory sharp and bright. I'd stir it with the if onlys in the middle of the night to keep it potent. It was my fuel, my bitter, angry heat, the thing that kept me from missing you, that made my own defeat seem like your fault. But it's just fading resentment now. The brine is losing sting, the sharp edges have softened, and it doesn't mean a thing to tend it. The memories are blurring, losing their specific hurt, becoming just a story with a generic sad dessert of it ended. Oh, this fading resentment, it's exhausting to maintain, a poison that I've grown immune to in the sun and in the rain. Of my own life. look at the jar sometimes, and the venom seems pathetic. A childish held on a grudge, now looking synthetic and unnecessary. You're not here to see me waste my time, curating this museum of a very petty crime against my heart. The resentment is fading, and what's left is just the ache, the simple unadorned sorrow, for goodness sake, of a love that died. But it's just fading resentment now. The brine is losing steam, the sharp edges have softened, and it doesn't mean a thing to tend it. The memories are blurring, losing their specific hurt, becoming just a story with a generic sad dessert of it ended. Oh, this fading resentment, it's exhausting to maintain, a poison that I've grown immune to in the sun and in the rain of my own life. Maybe letting go of resentment isn't forgiving you, it's forgiving myself for holding on, for being true to a pain that's past its expiration date. The fading is a gift, a lightening of the load, a gentle psychic lift. I'll pour the jar, I'll wash it clean, use it for flowers or for pins. The fading resentment makes room for what comes next, and then I can breathe easier. Just a clean, empty jar now. Fading resentment gone. Smooth, a slow groove R&B track with a warm light bass line and soft drums. The vocal is silky weary and moving towards relief. Production is clean and soulful. The song fades out with a sense of peace. The fridge still hums your favorite tune. Your jacket hangs like a ghost in the noon. I set the table just for one and watch the dying of the sun. This house is just a photograph of a future that made you laugh. I move through rooms and echoing, well, nothing left inside to break or tell. I'm a hollow shell where the ocean used to swell. Just a memory of a song where your love was found, wearing the shape of a girl you knew, but the light you lit has faded through. I'm just a hollow shell since you said farewell. I wear my skin, I breathe the air. I'm going through the motions, I'm there, but the music's gone, the colors bled to silent gray inside my head. They say be strong, they say you'll has faded through. I'm just a hollow shell since you said farewell. Planted it in autumn, a bulb of deepest hue, with a picture on the packet of a perfect morning view. Of a bloom, I placed it in the pot where your old cactus died, a symbol of renewal, of a hope I couldn't hide from myself. I watered it with care, with whispered silly words. I placed it in the sunbeam according to the hers of advice online. But it's an unblown flower, a promise in the dirt, a green and stubborn stalk that seems to relish in the hurt of not opening. The leaves are strong, the stem is straight and tall, but the bud remains a clenched fist, refusing to enthrall or surrender. Oh, this unblown flower is my heart in botanical form. All the conditions seem just right, but it rides out the storm of expectation closed. Maybe it's waiting for a signal. I can't give a specific turn of the earth, a word from you, for which it seems to yearn in its silence. Or maybe it's just flawed, a dud among the seeds, destined only ever to fulfill its basic needs, for light and water, but not for beauty. This unblown flower and I, we stare at each other under the same sky, one of us refusing to try. But it's an unblown flower, a promise in the dirt, a green and stubborn stalk that seems to relish in the hurt of not opening. The leaves are strong, the stem is straight and tall, but the bud remains a clenched fist, refusing to enthrall or surrender. Oh, this unblown flower, it's my heart in botanical form. All the conditions seem just right, but it rides out the storm of expectation closed. Should I throw it out, declare the experiment to fail? But something in its stubborn green refusal makes me pale with recognition. Maybe the beauty is in the potential, not the bloom. Maybe the unblown flower is resisting a presumed doom of wilting. If it never opens, it can never die in a crumple of faded petals under an indifferent sky. It stays forever, almost. I'll keep watering unblown flower. Maybe forever almost is enough.
A delicate harp, perpetual mournful cello, and a sweet sad flute carry the melody. The arrangement is sparse and beautiful, like a single stem in a vase. The song ends with the harp's final shimmering notes.
She didn't let them fall to waste on pillows or the floor. She caught them on her fingertip, and then she asked for more of the salt. She bring them to her lips, a solemn private feast, assuming her own sorrow from the greatest to the least. Drop of pain, each one a memory. Why, what went wrong? A salty bitter sacrament to make her feel less strong and more real. She ate her tears, she drank the ocean of her grief, finding nourishment in sadness. In the disbelief made liquid, they tasted of the fights, of the apologies unsaid, of the future now unpainted, of the empty silent bed. Oh, she ate her tears and they became a part of her brine that preserved the ache and truth, the personal defining line between surviving and dissolving. People thought she was so strong, so dry-eyed and composed. They never saw the meal she had, the private door she closed. To die and they'd offer tissue, sympathy, a comfort and weak tea, but she just smile and swallow hard and say, I'm fine, you see, and mean it, because the tears were inside. Now a sea she learned to swim, a salt flood in her veins, making every trembling heavy with her own history. She ate her tears, she drank the ocean of her grief, finding nourishment in sadness. In the disbelief made liquid, they tasted of the fights, of the apologies unsaid, of the future now unpainted, of the empty silent bed. Oh, she ate her tears and they became a part of her brine that preserved the ache and truth, the personal defining line between surviving and dissolving. One day she might be done, the salt might lose its taste, the internal ocean might recede without a trace of its tides, and she'll look back on this, her season of consuming sorrow, now as a weakness, but as a way to borrow time from despair. She ate her tears to own them, to not let them own her, a radical, grotesque, and necessary procedure to integrate the loss. No more tears to cry. She ate her tears, now they're in some place. Are in string and arrangements. The vocal is powerful, visceral, and almost ritualistic. The song ends with the sound of a deep shuddering swallow, and then silence. used to find it effortlessly in the car, washing dishes late, a third above, a fifth below. We navigate the weight of a melody together. Your voice was a solid anchor in pace. Mine would weave a fragile descent in the intimate shared space of a song. It wasn't practiced, it was breath and instinct, true. A harmony that proved that there was somehow always two voices making one sound. Now it's a forgotten harmony, a chord I can't complete. My voice alone is just a line, a solitary beat. In the air I try to sing the parts you used to fill, the low, the deep, but my range can't stretch that far, and I end up in a heap of discord. Oh, this forgotten harmony, it's the ghost of our duet, a memory of a music that I cannot resurrect on my own. I hear songs on the radio and my mind will automatically start to plot your entrance, where your voice would come to me and lift it, but the space stays empty. The music plays on thin and flat, a harmony forgotten is a profound and painful fact of physics. Two notes made a richer, more resilient tone alone. Each note is just a self, and ultimately alone is just a sound. Now it's a forgotten harmony, a chord I can't complete. My voice alone is just a line, a solitary beat. In the air I try to sing the parts you used to fill, the low, the deep, but my range can't stretch that far, and I end up in a heap of discord. Oh, this forgotten harmony, it's the ghost of our duet, a memory of a music that I cannot resurrect on my own. Maybe I'll learn to sing a different harmony, one just for one, a complex self-contained chord when all is said and done. Or maybe I'll just sing the melody, stark and pure and plain, and let the lack of harmony articulate the pain of the missing part. This forgotten harmony will be the silent space between the notes I sing, a void I must embrace as part of my new song. I sing alone. Forgotten harmony, not just a single lonely line. The entire track is built with layered, close harmony female vocals. No instruments, it starts with a simple melody, then adds harmonies that feel like they're searching for a missing part. It feels beautiful, complex, and achingly incomplete. Ends with the vocals reducing to a single and accompanied line that holds a note and fades. I was gonna write the novel, I was gonna earn the trade, I was gonna start the business, be unafraid. And brilliant, you were gonna be my muse, my steady cheering section, the wind beneath my wings. my pride, but the energy it takes to love a fading man is energy siphoned from a very different plan for a life. Now it's just wilted ambition, a limp and faded flower in the vase of my potential, losing by the hour. It's posture, the pages are all blank, the tools are gathering rust. A fine layer of apology coats every dream with dust. Love, neglect, oh, this wilted ambition, it's the collateral cost of tending to a love that was eternally frost, bitten at the root. I look at other women climbing ladders, making art, and I feel a hollow envy, a dull ache in my heart. That's for me, the me that could have been if I had watered my own ground, instead of pouring all my hope when none could be found. Or return, the ambition isn't dead, it's just exhausted out of steam. It's seen the budget of my spirit, it's witnessed the extreme withdrawal. Now it's just wilted ambition, a limp and faded flower in the vase of my potential, losing by the hour. It's posture, the pages are all blank, the tools are gathering rust. A fine layer of apology coats every dream with dust. Of neglect, oh, this wilted ambition, it's the collateral cost of tending to a love that was eternally frost, bitten at the root. Maybe after a long rest, after a season in the dark, the roots will find a will to push up, make a new and different mark on the world, a smaller dream, perhaps a quieter, more true expression of a self that's been remade, that's gotten through the drought. This wilted ambition may just be the necessary dieback, so stronger shoots can emerge on a less precarious track. Oh my, let it rest. Wilted ambition, maybe it will green again. She used to see the gold in every dawn, her symphonies and rain upon the stone. Then the world went quiet, cold and flat. She folded up the light just like that, with careful hand and a heart of lead. She buried the sun and welcomed it. They ask her why the curtains are drawn so tight. She says the morning was simply too bright. She buried the sun in the backyard of her mind, packed the soil with memories left behind, where flowers grew now just cold. She whispers to the shadows, you have won. The day she quietly buried the sun. Now she navigates by the moon's pale scar and names the constellations of what once was our. Her laughter is a relic tucked away, an artifact from a different day. Some say it's depression, a chemical lie, but she knows the truth. She watched the light die. It wasn't stolen, it wasn't gone in a fight. She chose the velvet comfort of the night. She buried the sun in the backyard of her soul, traded all the warmth to feel whole. Where joy took root, now just silent, deep ground. The richest secret that she's ever found. She made a pact with the darkness one by one. The day she finally buried the sun, and in the dark she feels no pain, just the gentle falling of the rain. I walk down to the curb each day, a small and hopeful ride. The red flag up the metal door, a promise in the light of afternoon. I used to find your postcards, silly notes, the bills. We laugh about the catalogs for our imaginary hills of a home. Now I turn the little key and pull the door wide and peer into the dark and vacant space, season after year, but nothing. It's just an empty mailbox, a hollow tin can heart, a symbol of the distance and the slowly drifting apart of our worlds. The only things that come are ads and grocery flyers addressed to resident, confirming my worst fears and lies about connection. Oh, this empty mailbox, it's a daily quiet check, a proof that in the universe I am an afterthought, a speck, unmailed to. I think about sending a letter to myself in my own hand, just to have something to retrieve, to break up the blend. Monotony of absence, dear you are doing fine, but even I don't believe it enough to stand in line at the post office. So the empty mailbox remains a shrine to lack, a tiny metal chapel on my suburban cul-de-sac. Oh, loneliness, it's just an empty mailbox, a hollow tin can heart, a symbol of the distance and the slowly drifting apart. Oh, this empty mailbox, it's a daily quiet check, a proof that in the universe I am an afterthought, a speck unmailed too. Maybe one day I'll move, get a P.O. box in a town where no one knows my history, where I can settle down without this ritual, where the mail is just for practical things and not a measure of my heart's sad beating's wings against the cage of hope. But for now I walk, I turn the key, I face the empty mailbox and the empty part of me that still expects something. Just a click and a hollow sound. Empty mailbox, another day. Where there once were waves of feeling crashing on a feeling shore, where the tides of our affection would retreat and then restore themselves daily. Now there is a stillness, an immense and solid plain of ice that stretches to a horizon free of pain. A motion, her frozen sea. The storms are locked beneath the miles of blue-white silence. There are no more treacherous emotional hours to navigate. This is her frozen sea, a beautiful arrested state. A heart in perfect cryogenic pause, a chosen fate of numbness. The sun glints off it, cold and sharp and clean. No ship can sail it, no warm foot can tread between the cracks. It's safer this way. Oh, her frozen sea, it's a majestic sight, a landscape of survival. Of love to cold reflection. Beneath the surface, who knows what still moves in the dark and press. Some ancient slow leviathan of loneliness or stress. She doesn't care to know the surface is what matters, hard and sure. A barrier against the thought, against the insecure. And messy melt, her frozen sea is her new continent, her home. A vast and quiet kingdom where she is free to roam in perfect sterile calm. This is her frozen sea, a beautiful arrested state. A heart in perfect cryogenic pause, a chosen fate of numbness. The sun glints off it, cold and sharp and clean. No ship can sail it, no warm foot can tread between the cracks. It's safer this way. Oh, her frozen sea, it's a majestic sight, a landscape of survival, turning on the fiery light of love to cold reflection. Maybe in a of the three shall look with different eyes upon its waves. For now, her frozen sea is peace. It is the end of drowning, is the beautiful crystalline friend that winter brought her. Let it be frozen, her frozen sea, a perfect solid piece. They called me an old tree with roots stuck deep and wide, a steady, solid presence you could always stand beside. In a storm, I wore the title like a coat I'd earned through pain, a testament to all I could withstand. Again and again and again. But even oaks get tired, even granite wears to sand, and the strength that was my calling card is slipping from my hand like water. This is fate and strength. The reservoir is running dry. The muscles of my spirit have forgotten how to try. So hard, where I once would stand and fight, now I just wanna sit. Where I'd build a wall, now I just admit the defeat. Oh, this fading strength, it's not a failure, it's the truth. I've carried this alone since the ending of our youth. Together and I'm tired. I see the worry in their eyes, the ones who leaned on me. They see the cracks, the slumping spine, the new fragility in my voice. They offer help, but I don't know how to take it now. Accepting weakness is a lesson I never did allow myself to learn, so I just smile, a weaker version of my grin, and feel the strength continue its slow, relentless spin down the drain. This is fate and strength. The reservoir is running dry. The muscles of my spirit have forgotten how to try so hard. Where I once would stand and fight, now I just wanna sit. Where I'd build a wall, now I just admit the defeat. Oh, this fading strength, it's not a failure, it's the truth. I've carried this alone since the ending of our youth. Together and I'm tired. Maybe strength isn't endless, maybe it's a finite fuel, and I have burned mine down to ash, playing a stubborn fool who needs no one. Maybe this fading is the start of something new, a strength that's soft, that asks for help, that sees a different view of what it means to be strong, to be weak, and to survive, to let the fading strength go and feel more truly alive than the exhaustion. Let it go, fading strength. Time to rest. A slow, heavy 12/8 blues shuffle, a soulful I shout your name into the canyon of this new too big place, and what comes back is not your voice, but the hollow, empty space where your voice should be. It's just my own sound, bent and stretched and thin, a mocking, hollow echo of the state I'm living in. Alone I tried different words, love where I stay, but the canyon only gives me back the echoes of my say, distorted, faint. These are hollow echoes, answers that aren't answers at all, just my own questions bouncing off a cold and distant wall of absence. They don't comfort, they don't guide, they don't explain, they just reiterate the loneliness again and again in a loop. All these hollow echoes, they're the sound of my own need returning to me, a barren and a fruitless sea of sound. I've learned to stop the shouting. The silence is less cruel than the hollow echo, proving I'm the universe's fool for calling out. The canyon doesn't care, it's just geology. The echoes aren't a message, they're simple physics, don't you see? I am the source and I am the return, a closed pathetic circuit. The hollow echo is the truth my stubborn heart won't admit. I'm talking to myself. These are hollow echoes, answers that aren't answers at all, just my own questions bouncing off a cold and distant wall of absence. They don't comfort, they don't guide, they don't explain, they just reiterate the loneliness again and again in the loop. All these hollow echoes, they're the sound of my own need returning to me, a barren and a fruitless seed of sound. Maybe one day I'll fill the canyon with new sounds, new life, with music of my own making, to cut through the old strife of the echo. Or maybe I'll just leave the canyon, walk away to a quieter geography, where at the end of day my voice just stops, absorbed by grass, by trees, by softer things, where hollow echoes are replaced by the song a lone bird sings, the sound that starts and ends with itself. I stop calling hollow echoes, just the wind now. The vocal and primary instruments are drenched in long reverb and delay, creating literal echoes that bounce and overlap. The production feels vast and empty. The song ends with the delays continuing to repeat, becoming more distorted and quieter until they merge with noise and fade. I drove across 3 state lines on a Tuesday in the rain to see the house we lived in one more time to ease the pain of forgetting the new paint was blue, a color we'd hated. The garden was neat and tidy. Our wild roses had been faded. For removal, I parked across the street and let the wipers sweep the tears I hadn't planned on. A vigil I would keep for an hour. This was the last visit, a pilgrimage to a shrine that's been converted, renovated to a different design. For living I didn't knock, I didn't need to walk the floors, I just needed to see the place that was no longer ours. From the outside, oh, this last visit, it was a closing of a book, a final visual period, a long and lingering look, then a turning away. A woman came out with a child on her hip to get the mail. She looked happy, ordinary, a detail that would fail to move me if it didn't prove the point so perfectly. Life moves in, life moves on with a calm brutality. Our ghosts weren't haunting, they were just gone, evicted by the new. The last visit was my way of saying goodbye to you. And to the ghost, this was the last visit, a pilgrimage to a shrine that's been converted, renovated to a different design. For living I didn't knock, I didn't need to walk the floors, I just needed to see the place that was no longer ours. From the outside, oh, this last visit, it was a closing of a book, a final visual period, a long and lingering look, then a turning away. Yeah, I started the car, I didn't look back in the rear view mirror. The last visit was over, the future was now clear, and it was mine. The house was just a house, the past was just a trip. The love was real, but the address had lost its grip. On my heart I drove home in the clearing rain, the road ahead was straight. The last visit had done its work, it helped me separate the memory from the geography. Never again. Last visit. Now just a story I tell myself. A simple finger pick, a bird guitar. The vocal is clear, narrative and deeply resigned, like someone telling a story they finally come to terms with. The song ends with the sound of a car engine starting and driving away. The guitar fading, left the stage now. The crowd's roar has died away. The feedback settled into silence at the end of the last day of the tour, but in the rafters, in the strings of the guitar, leaning on its stand, the final vibration travels far into the empty room. The last chord struck a power ringing pain is now just energy dispersing on a slow and fading wing of sound. This is the last chord, the one that was meant to end the song. It hangs in the darkened atmosphere, insisting it belongs to the silence now. It's not pretty, it's raw, and it's unresolved, a declaration that the story in the end involved a letting go that isn't neat. Oh, the last chord, let it ring, let it fill the hollow spaces, let it do its final thing to decay beautifully. Our love was like a concert, all the build, the verse, the climb, the screaming crescendo that felt like it would be back time itself. And then the last chord, not a whisper, not a sigh, a slammed fist on the piano, a defiant final cry against the ending, but an ending came. And now the chords just stare, displacing other air, a memory of a flare, a noise now going quiet. This is the last chord, the one that was meant to end the song. It hangs in the darkened atmosphere, insisting it belongs to the silence now. It's not pretty, it's raw, and it's unresolved, a declaration that the story in the end involved a letting go that isn't neat. Oh, the last chord, let it ring, let it fill the hollow spaces, let it do its final thing to decay beautifully. In music they teach you to release the chord, to let it stop, but in life the last chord just keeps vibrating, drop by drop of its resonance into the future. It never truly ends, it just becomes a part of the room on which new sound depends for its shape. So I let this last chord of us be my new ground tone, the drone beneath whatever melody I'll make alone, a foundation of a finished thing. Let it ring, let it ring, ooh, let it ring, ooh. Last chord. Now the silence, a single, heavily distorted and sustained electric guitar chord swells to a powerful peak, then begins a very slow, natural decay. The sound is vast and immersive. The track is essentially this one chord fading over several minutes, with subtle unheaded changing as it dies away, until it is inaudible. swept them from the windowsill. A fine and glittering silk, not dirt but something finer, that the morning sun had spilled. From the air is the dust of dreams, the particles of maybe and could be, that we breathed in while sleeping. You beside, you next to me. In the dark they settled in the quiet hours, as our hopes would decompose into this faint metallic sparkle that now gets in my nose and makes me sneeze the past away. Just dust of dreams, a residue of what we almost planned. The phantom down payment, the grains of foreign sand. From trips not taken, it coats the surfaces of this pragmatic life, a constant soft reminder of the stillness after strife, of dreaming. Oh, the dust of dreams is everywhere I clean, a shimmering, pathetic and achingly routine, proof of aspiration. I try to wipe it clean, but it just swirls and resettles somewhere new, on the books we meant to read, on the worn and fading view of the park. It's the pulverized remains of conversations that took flight, then crashed against the ceiling of reality in the night, and fell as powder. This dust of dreams is the archaeology of us, sifted down to almost nothing, without any fuss or ceremony. Just dust of dreams, a residue of what we almost planned. The phantom down payment, the grains of foreign sand. From trips not taken, it coats the surfaces of this pragmatic life, a constant soft reminder of the stillness after strife, of dreaming. Oh, the dust of dreams is everywhere I clean, a shimmering, pathetic and achingly routine, proof of aspiration. Maybe all dreams turn to dust eventually. Is there a fate to be inhaled, then exhaled, to accumulate on the furniture of the mundane? Maybe the sparkle isn't sad, but a beautiful, persistent proof of the dreams we had. However briefly, I'll stop trying to clean it. Let it gather, let it shine. Let the dust of dreams be my unusual, benign, and constant decor. Let it sparkle, dust of dreams, my galaxy of almost was. Warm, slightly warped synth pads in a slow, dusty drum machine loop. The vocal is hazy, filtered, and sounds far away like a memory. The track has a lo-fi, nostalgic quality, ending with the sound of a soft cloth wiping. Then a record scratch.